So, resins are basically hard gum material that are collected from the sap of different trees and plants. It can be from the leaves, it can be from the stalks. And so what happens is these parts of the trees and barks and branches are bruised and they produce a sap, and that sap is collected and it is dried and hardened, and that's how we have resins. So a lot of these resins will be ground down into a powder and formed with some other types of bonding things to form incense. So I know a lot of people are familiar with incense either on a stick or on a cone, but the basis of all of those incense are these hard pieces of resins. And so we're just taking it a step back to say, you know, we can just burn pure resins. It's the purest, and you know that there's not anything extra added to these things, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few samples here. We've got Mayan copal. We have some frankincense, some dragon's blood, some copal, and we're going to let Heather go ahead and just demonstrate how to safely and properly light your resins.
Yes. Now, the shell that we used in the white sage video, you would not want to use for your charcoal.
Okay.
It just is, it's pretty fragile. So I would recommend something in the terracotta line or a metal. You can find, even if they're in the shape of a cauldron, those are really popular. You can find little brass basins. Sometimes they have a wood coaster underneath. There's lots of things that you can use. Heat resistant is the key. Heat resistant.
And is that important because when you light sage, the heat from lighting the sage and then the heat from lighting what you'll use to burn resins is a really different kind of heat.
It's a very different kind of heat.
Okay.
In fact, what you use to burn resin is a charcoal. And when you think charcoal briquette, or briquette, how do you pronounce it?
Briquette.
Charcoal brick, I don't know, what we cook on a grill.
Yeah.
This is exactly what that really is.
Okay.
So yes, the heat is very different. And in fact, you know, sometimes people think, you know, glass Pyrex, those can go in the oven, so you could use Pyrex, but you couldn't just use glass. This was actually, I use this as an example because someone had thought if they just propped it up on something, the heat would dissipate, and this is what the charcoal did to the glass. So I use this as an example when I say things like you have to be safe, and you know, this is nothing to mess around with. I mean it.
Yeah.
Because if this had been left unattended, if we hadn't actually been there to see this happen, if we had just started the charcoal and walked away, or put the plant material on top of it and thought we would just go ahead and smoke the room and tend to something else, even if something as quick as a phone call, I mean, that could have been living room gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to be really careful with this stuff.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is show you exactly how I would set it up. This is a pretty simple technique. It's just a terracotta pot with its actual, that was exciting. This is just, you know, the pot holder. But what we do is we invert it, okay? So this is, again, going to let heat dissipate.
Nice.
So the first step would be to take sand. This is just dry play sand. You can get fancy sand. You can get the sand like you would use in an aquarium.
Could you get dirt out of your yard?
I guess you could probably get dirt out of your yard. I've never done that before.
Okay.
I wouldn't say no, but I'm not going to say yes.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just always used sand.
Okay, sure.
Now, what I'm doing with the aluminum foil is just creating a scenario where I don't have to keep replacing my sand. Because just like when you burn charcoal to grill, this is going to turn to complete ash.
Right.
And this way, if I put it on top of this piece of aluminum foil, the aluminum foil will save me from having to replace the sand over and over again.
Okay.
So, you see the setup. Here we are. Sand, or heat resistant, sand, aluminum foil, charcoal. Now, I would recommend, if you aren't used to burning charcoal, that you have tongs. They could be the same kind of, well, not the same tongs that you use for your grill or your food, but you can get a pair at the dollar store.
You know what I use is a clothespin.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So, yeah, and I mean, you know, it's wood, and but it's done me well for a number of years now.
Oh, that's a great idea, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're not going to hold it for very long
Right.
with anything. So, and I would say a wood clothespin, maybe not the plastic, because the
Yes,
plastic could
it's,
melt
it's
pretty
a wood
quickly.
clothespin, yeah.
So, I'm hoping that the video will catch this. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna hold the flame to the charcoal.
I think we're getting a
I
draft.
think we
from
are
the
getting
air
a little bit of a
conditioner.
draft. So we're gonna come down here, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use my handy dandy fan
Ooh,
to block it.
okay.
Don't mean to block it from you, but I'll be able to show you in just a minute. Okay, so once it catches, just like it did with the white sage and the palo, you're gonna see a like a red-orange line. And that's gonna carry on through the whole charcoal. I'm gonna turn this around so you can see where it actually caught. Now, sometimes when you have things like a breeze or, oh, here it goes. And it just depends. I will tell you that I've had these charcoals in this plastic bag, probably for maybe 4 months. So charcoals do tend to dry out. You need to keep them in something that's completely airtight.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of my fault. So you just want to make sure you have fresh charcoal. But as you can see, it's turning bright orange there, and it's really hot. Like,
Yeah.
I can feel the heat right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's barely lit.
It's barely lit.
Yeah. And so how long does it take for the entire, I know we're gonna go through the process, but how long
Yes.
does it take for the entire charcoal to light?
The entire charcoal to light can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
I always recommend that you wait until it's completely gray, because that means that the entire charcoal has
Mhm.
now caught. It's
Right.
all flame.
So maybe this would be a good time to just mention too, that there are different size charcoals depending on,
Yes.
depending on your needs. So these are the size that Heather has brought to share. And this is the size that I typically use for my home. So I imagine this has a little bit more burning time than
Yes.
this one. The smaller ones will burn for about 30 to 45 minutes or so. I'm
Yeah.
imagining this one may get at least 45 minutes
To an hour and 15.
to an hour and 15, okay?
Yeah.
So just know that there are differences in burning times in the briquette size. But also, this one takes probably like about 5 minutes or less to fully light, whereas
Yes.
this is gonna take a little longer. So,
Yes.
if you do end up with charcoal and you're thinking that this is taking a long time to light, then that could be the difference between what we're saying and what you have.
Yes, absolutely. There are, and I do have the extra large, so
Yeah.
that's the difference. Mine are kind of jumbo.
Okay.
You can find them in different shapes too.
Yeah.
Pretty much any of them will work. Sometimes you can find them in places where they sell hookah supplies,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to
For
have that.
shisha?
Yeah, in the bottom, so that helps too.
Yeah.
But a lot of places, you can find charcoal in a lot of different places. But you can see it's already nice.
It's getting a nice
Nice.
red ring here, and you
Yes.
can really feel the heat coming from this. That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. And now
So,
there's a smell to it too. I think we should warn people.
Yeah.
There's just a bit of a smell. It's not an off-putting, well, it could be to you, but it's just expect it. Now, it does not interfere with the smudging or with the burning of the resins,
Right.
because once it's fully lit, the smell goes away. That is sort of the igniting smell that a
Okay.
charcoal has.
Yeah. Okay. Now you can see that the charcoal is ready to go. So this would be
Absolutely.
ready to go.
Yes.
Okay. And so how do you do your resins from this point?
Well, at this point, I would decide which one I was going to use.
Yeah.
And the thing about resin, the key to resin, you can always put more on, you
Yes.
can't take more off.
Right.
Because once it hits this charcoal, it will start to melt.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have a melty mess, and it's resin, so it's almost, it's not plastic at all, but think of like melted plastic, how that can burn your skin. Melted resin will do the same. So
Absolutely.
you can't take it back off.
Yeah.
So I always suggest start with the small little piece,
Mhm.
see if you really like that fragrance that
Okay.
it's going to produce,
Yeah.
because you can always add more on.
Right.
Um,
And then they call the smaller pieces, they're known as tears or
Yes.
teardrops.
Yes.
And so, you know, when you think about a tear size of resin, it's
Yes.
typically about I'd say half the size of a pea.
Yes, exactly.
Not even the size of a full pea. So half the size of a pea,
Yes.
if not even smaller than that, like you said, just to start.
Yes.
And then you can always add on more later, or you can change it to something else. You would not want to put on anything this big unless your house is a mansion and you plan on burning resin in every single room. So.
Or if you just really like it. This is frankincense. I would put both of these on in my house.
Oh, really?
Because I love it.
Okay.
Frankincense is one of my best friends.
I love frankincense too. Absolutely. Okay.
Which one would you like to burn? This is, I think you get to choose.
You know, let's do frankincense.
Okay.
I love frankincense. Put on frankincense, and we'll just drop it onto there.
It just takes a few seconds for it to start to melt.
Yeah. When I smell fresh frankincense, it reminds me of like this vast ocean.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just
Yes.
very clean and clear and expansive.
Yes.
More than anything else. It's
Yes.
just like this, you know, it just opens you up. And so, here he goes. So I don't know if hopefully you can see that on the video. We'll try to wave so you can see the smoke here.
You just add a little more wind. And then when you have a fan, you can also direct it. So if I had wanted to say clear Shanequa, I can then see how it goes into a full, like it's a fuller cloud of smoke instead of just the line that it will do on its own. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But the fan helps you direct it too. So if I needed to get into a corner or if I needed to get under something,
Yeah.
that helps.
Okay. And I tell you, frankincense is lovely. I think if you were starting off with any of these fragrances, they're all great and they're all beautiful, and certain ones are definitely going to call to you more than others. But frankincense is just amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you can see, you saw the size of the tier that we put onto the charcoal, and look at how much smoke it's creating. And remember, when we're creating smoke, it's just kind of going off. I don't even know, I don't think it's on camera, but it's creating a beautiful wall over there where you can almost just see it going and clearing the space.
I wish everyone could be in here right now, but hopefully you're at home and you're creating this for yourself, and I'm so excited for you to have this experience. It's really life-changing. Okay, and so that is how we burn resin.